get things started. This is the Vintage Military Radio Net. I'll be your net control today. Henry in Dayton, WA7 YBS. And so far I've heard in the order that I've heard them. And the number one spot is Dave, W6MQI. Morning, Dave. Number 2 is Ron, NU6F. Morning, Ron. Number 3 is Mike, W7MS. And number 4 is Rich, KE6QK. And let's see if we got anybody else out there that wants to get checked in early. And if you do, number 5 is open. Go ahead now.
K0DWC.
W6SSP.
Number 5 spot. Number 6 is Steve, W6SSP. Good morning, Steve. Everybody's got good signals so far this morning, so that's good. And let's see if we got anybody else out there. Number 7's open. Vintage Military Radio Net, Nevada version. Number 7's open if you want to check in. Do it now.
Good morning from W1NZR.
Well, there's Brown, W1NZR. You're a little off frequency, but not too far, maybe a couple of KC, but I picked you up just fine, no problem. Good strong signal. Nice to hear from you, Brown. You're number 7. Number 8 is open if you want to check in. Do it now. Okay. Vintage Military Radio Net. Well, everybody knows the drill. We assign numbers as you check in. Uses the handoff. We've already started doing that. Your net control tweaks and peaks as he talks. So that was a little pause there while I did that. And so anyway, let me run down the list. And the number 1 spot is Dave, W6MQI. Number 2 is Ron, NU6F. Number 3 is Mike, W7MS. Number 4 is Rich, KE6QK. And the number 5 is K0DWC, Chuck. Number 6 is Steve, W6SSP. And number 7 is Brown, W1NZR. I'm on the 32V3. I was going to run the big rig today, but, contrary to the reports of it being above freezing, it was 23 degrees here this morning, so the big rig was out. So I'm on the Collins 32V3, running about 115 watts or so of carrier power. Military connection is the British Royal Army Raycal RA-17L. And with that, let's go up to Dave, W6MQI, WA7YBS.
All right, Henry, good morning. And good morning to everybody else. All stations are solid here into Livermore. And we'll see how conditions continue. But again, this is Dave in Livermore, and we're on the ART-13, running about almost 200 watts, maybe 170 watts or something, and listening on the 75A4 receiver. And got thin overcast here, 50 degrees. Yesterday was just gorgeous yesterday. I went up to Santa Rosa, and for you, anybody who has ever done any flying, it looked like to be severe clear conditions. Going over the Richmond Bridge and such, you could just see forever. It's crystal clear. Went up and to an old friend I grew up with who's a ham, N7KRG, picked up some Tech equipment from an estate friend of ours, Silent Key. And I had the pleasure of stopping by Steve's house. And that was an enjoyable eyeball. We had CUSA there, so more on all that later. So up to Ron, NU6F, W6MQI.
Okay, good morning, guys. Great copy on everybody so far, and hopefully it'll hold out. And good deal, Mike. I was going to ask you before if you were able to drop by Steve. So okay, we'll hear about that too. And Ron, NU6F, and I'm running the TDE 3. 1943 contract with Farnsworth Television and Radio, and the RAL RCA 1939 contract, and 100 and running through the afterburner to kick the 30 watts up to 150 watts, and that's it for this end. Okay, with that, over to the voice of Golden Valley, W7MS, NU6F.
Well, thank you, Ron, NU6F, and the Sunday morning military net, W7MS, Mike and Reno. Good morning. Good conditions from all. Propagation, and also I would concur with Dave's ecstatic review of yesterday's conditions here on the West Coast. It was a great day to be outside, a nice break from the winter doldrums, and I think another good day today based on what I'm looking outside. But of course, high pressure in cold mornings, and highs somewhere probably in the 50s today with plenty of sunshine, so looking forward to that. So good job, Mother Nature. This morning running the old number ones, the 310B 30K1, and it's, I think, a totally non-military. Hell no, we won't go. And of course, this 30K1 is serial number 1, the first amateur radio transmitter post-World War II. So that's a military connection, but maybe in the civilian sense. So we'll keep things going, and I wonder if Dave took any pictures of Steve's pile of R390 era equipment, because we did get the rundown from Steve here a few weeks ago on his R390s, R390As, and R392. So we demand a picture, Dave. So over to Rich, KE6QK, W7MS.
Hi, W7MS in the group KE6QK. Well, it's beautiful this morning. Everyone's over 9 except Mike. Mike's 20 over. I don't know what he's doing up there. Yeah, we're running the usual 1961 DX100B and receiving on the new ICOM 7300 separate antenna. And I have to agree with everybody. High desert up here. It was beautiful yesterday.
Heard him also.
And I got out in the yard and cleaned up the lawn with the lawnmower, vacuumed it all the leaves up, chopped out all the weeds. Then I got back in the ham shack and started working on my DC power system back there. I had a rectifier failure after 10 years. I got a new one, and I have some bad batteries. I use that as a backup in my ham shack before I got the generator installed. Now I really don't use it very much. It's a 24-volt system. I use a Newmar converter to change it to 12 volts for the Kenwood equipment. It works really well. And it's for emergency communications, backup, or use all the time. I do have 2 bad batteries. I will be going up on the mountain today. I'm going to look at those batteries up there. I have 2 high-capacity cellular batteries What we do, we use the, historically, we use the Walmart batteries, deep cycles, with Samlex chargers, and they really work well for the repeaters. I have two Samlex 20 amp switching power supplies running 2 repeaters right now, and they're all over a decade old. They're solid, made in Korea, high quality. One last thing, you mentioned occasionally equipment swap and whatnot. Up at the tower, I have an Astron 28 volt DC 30 amp power supply that I used for a while for my microwave shots on 6 gigs. It's a beautiful piece of equipment, weighs about 40 pounds. I don't need it anymore. If there's any applications for 28 volts DC, keep me in mind. I'll swap it out, sell it. I won't ship it. The damn shipping today would be more than the damn thing is worth. Anyway, that's the rundown here, and we can't wait to get out in the sun today. Okay, I'm looking at the script here. Oh, Chuck, K0 DWC. Pick it up.
Let me break in there for a minute, Chuck. I think Andy was in there on CW, KD6TKX. Let me confirm that. Go ahead if you're there on CW, Andy. You're about 5'6" or so, 5'6", a little bit of QSB here in Dayton. I know Mike copied you, and I think Ron did too. So we'll put you in the number 8 spot after Brown, and we'll see what happens. So anyway, let's shoot her over there to Chuck, K0DWC, WA7YBS.
Okay. All right, Henry. Well, good morning, Henry. Dave, Ron, Mike, Rich, Steve, and Bob. Good to have you back on the West Coast there, Bob. And Andy, KD6TKX. Good morning to you. All right. Well, we're on the TCS 13 this morning. Yeah, we're running about 115 watts, I guess, or so. T17 mic with the electro module in it, and running through the remote with an SB 200 amp. So anyway, that's a rundown here for the first round anyway. So we'll we'll go ahead and we'll send it over to Steve over to Santa Rosa, W6SSP, K0DWC.
Okay, thank you, Chuck, and good morning, one and all. This is Steve, W6SSP, just north of Santa Rosa, and copying everybody just fine, including Andy. Good signal up here, Andy, and able to copy you. Beautiful weather here again, you know, just to add to what everybody else is saying, and spring has sprung. Flowers are coming out all over the place, and it's real pretty outside, so another storm coming in later today, but it's supposed to be kind of weak, so that's fine. Anyway, had a really nice visit with Dave yesterday, so showed him most of the stuff. And Dave, I got to apologize, I didn't show you the cabin. And that's where most of the R390As and 392s and the moving coil national receivers are. It's all that stuff, but you saw about 75% of it anyway. So anyway, we'll send it over to Brown, W1ZR, W6SSP.
Okay, Steve, very good, W6SSP. And the West Coast MILRAD-NET, W1NZR in greater southeast suburban Dixon. Saying a very good morning to all. And also good morning to Andy, way down there on the mountain. Very good signal, actually, from you, Andy. Good signals from everybody. And it's nice to be here. Looking at my log, I think the last time I checked into this net was in December. I was here briefly at the beginning of January, but not until, let's see, when did I come in? I came in last Tuesday in the middle of quite a bit of rain. But as with the rest of you, it's been very nice here the past couple of days. This morning, I think it's about 48 or so Fahrenheit, but sunny. Looking forward to another lovely day out here in the almond orchards. And all the trees are blooming, so see how long that lasts. Anyway, I'm here for another couple of days, so able to play a little bit of radio. And thanking you, Henry, for running the net. I think I'm on frequency. I'm sorry I didn't zero beat myself in the beginning, and one of the advantages of AM, it didn't have to be right on. Okay, it goes down to Andy, I believe. KD6 TKX and the net from W1N ZR.
W6JRY.
Okay, got you there, Andy. KD6TKX, and yeah, 73. I got no round table. Okay, sounds fine. And very good. Yeah, no, you're a little bit of QSB, and I had to get you on the opposite side. There was a little bit of QRM. I could have narrowed it down, I guess, on the receiver. But anyway, yeah, it was a solid copy. So 73, and we have Tom, WA6OPE, and Jerry in there. So I'm going to turn it over to Tom. And Tom, you turn it over to Jerry. Jerry, you turn it back to me. WA6OPE, go ahead. This is WA7YBS.
Okay, thank you, Henry, and good morning to the net. Good signals from everybody, including Andy. And from those guys, for any of you that didn't copy that or whatever, he was good copy here. He's in the Ventana Wilderness, which is about somewhere about halfway in between King City and the Pacific Ocean. It's out in the middle of nowhere, folks. And and he and his daughter went out there camping yesterday. And question for MQI, I think there was a tentative skid last night on 40 meters or so. I forgot about it, didn't get a chance to listen. But anyway, there you go. Good morning, a special good morning to Brown. Long time no talk, long time no hear. So let's see here. What else was I going to mention? Excellent conditions. My line noise is at its usual, but conditions are so good that everybody's way over the noise. this morning, except for the, I think he's in Fallon. He's about Q4 here. Let's see, what was I going to say? Oh, yes, somebody was speaking of R390As and such, and I'm knee-deep, actually about waist-deep in an R390A project right now, plus I pulled out my junkers. Getting parts. Yeah, so I needed some information to refresh my memory. So guess what? I went to Radio Boulevard. And let me tell you, folks, boy, Henry, that is a beautiful piece of work on the R390A on your website. Unbelievable. So, needless to say, burned an hour there, and I printed it out. And it prints out very nicely. The type's kind of small, but it prints out very nicely. And so I'm actually in a gearbox now, an R390A gearbox, taking gears apart and trying to put them back together again. Actually, they were in a box. All the gears were kind of loose in a box with the rest of the frame of the RF deck. And lots of fun. So, but that gear section on R390A, excellent stuff. Okay, keep it moving. W6JRY, WA60PE.
Yeah, okay. Very good morning to all. It's W6JRY, Forest Ranch, and good copy on everybody. A slow start today here from trying to start my cranky pellet stove manually. No success with getting the electrical element to do its thing, but anyway, just one other project around here to have to do something about. Good copy on everybody, good signals. Andy, good copy there in the wilderness, running 5 watts, and perfectly copyable up this way. Like I say, everybody's got very good signals here today, and likewise as far as everybody's comments on yesterday, we're about wore thin from nothing but outside projects that's been laying around needing things done. And let's see, not a whole lot happening, no radio projects here in the last week, just other various things. Had my Subaru 2018, been having some problems with it for numerous months, maybe a year or so. Finally got it in and found out it needed a new catalytic converter. And I'd gotten a paper on that maybe a year or two ago, something about problems with that, where the catalytic converter connects to up to the engine exhaust. And that's kind of where I was getting exhaust smell in the cab and everything. And sure enough, that was what the problem was anyway. Thank gosh it was in warranty, and if it wasn't, I would have had to pay $4,000 for a catalytic converter. And incidentally, California, the catalytic converters are much more expensive than anyplace else in this country. Our continued heavy hand from the, well, you guys know the situation. The only other interesting thing, I think, during the week, and it wasn't really radio related, but it was OSS related. It's a really pretty good movie I watched, was on Netflix, about a guy that, well, the name of the movie was, The Catcher Was a Spy. And this guy, I'd never even heard of him before. He was a Major League pro catcher for a number of the Major League ball players during the 30s and right up to 1941 before Pearl Harbor. And I guess he was kind of a genius type guy or something, but graduated from Princeton and so on, but he was a baseball player, and that's what he liked to do. But he ended up getting in contact with Bill Donovan, head of the OSS in those days, getting him a job as a spy during World War II. So, and Hollywood did a pretty good job on it, really. And I checked it out. I never heard from the guy before, but it's a really interesting story if anybody's interested in the forerunner to RCIA there, the OSS. Enough out of me, and back up to Henry there. WA7 YBS in the group, W6JRY.
Okay, Jerry, W6JRY, WA7YBS, very good. Well, let's see if there's anybody else that wants to get in here. Number 11's open if you want to check in here into the first round, and be number 11. Well, check in now.
November 6, Bravo, Charlie Tango.
There's Bill. I thought Bill was going to be late, and he was, but that's okay, Bill, as long as you're here. N6BCT, go ahead and make a transmission and turn it back to me. WA7YBS, go ahead.
Yeah, W7 YBS and 6 Bravo, Charlie Tango. Well, I'm having problems about using the KPH SDR and they changed the code, so I couldn't get in right away. So I had to go around to get it to work again. So now I'm just using the KPH SDR, and I didn't hear Andy on that. So maybe I'll have to try to, next time I'll try to hear him correct. See where that was. Anyway. So there you go, that's N6BCT. Back to you, just see where we are.
Okay, Bill. Well, let me write you down here. N6BCT. Okay, very good. SDR problems. All right. And, okay. The conditions were very good. Everybody was 100% copy. And, yeah, thanks, Tom, there for the compliments on the R390A. 4 parts. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. That's, you know, that's, I think that's the biggest write-up that I have on the website. The HRO, the National HRO one, is pretty big, too. And, but at any rate, I'm glad it was helpful, and it's always fun to do that kind of stuff. I'm working right now on the National NC-173, the NC-183, and the NC-183D, all as one family of receivers. And that one's going to be a pretty big, there's one up there now that's kind of like, that's kind of like the rough draft, I guess you'd say. That's on there. It's in the works now to expand that about double what the size it is at the present time, and to have well, everything you ever wanted to know about those receivers, but really weren't too interested to ask. But at any rate, they're pretty good receivers. You know, the 173 came out in early 1947. Right after, you know, right as soon as production got going again, and you know, National in 1946 was doing a lot of using up the surplus World War II parts that they had, and you know, making HROs and that sort of stuff. It was mostly the same stuff that they had either made before World War II or the stuff that they made during World War II. So anyway, the 173 was really the first receiver that they came out that was new after World War II. And of course that was followed by the HRO-7 and then the NC-183 and the HRO-50 or later on. Anyway, that's what the latest write-up project is, and like I say, there's one on there right now that's sort of a rough draft, and it will give you the idea of what's going on. But in probably a week or so, is going to double in size. So there you go. Well, let's see if there's anybody else out there before we get on to round two. If you want to check in, be number 12. Go ahead now.
Going for number 12. I got to tune up more. It's K6VXY. I finally woke up. The K6VXY for number 12.
WE6 Jacks, Kings, and 9s, number 13, I guess.
Well, okay, there's Vern. Good morning, Vern. And it's K6VXY. And number 13 is Kevin, WA6JKN. Okay, so Vern, I'm going to turn it to you, and hopefully you will have gotten tuned up by then. And then you turn it to Kevin, WA6JKN, and then Kevin turn it back to me, WA7YBS. So over to Vern, K6VXY. Go ahead. This is WA7YBS.
Okay, WA7YBS. This is K6VXY. Thank you. Let's see, I think I'm reasonably tuned up. Let's see, what's the... Boy, I just don't wake up anymore. This is bad. This is K6VXY Vern, and where am I? Groveland, California. Let me turn the linear off for now. I'll use that on the next round. I know this is a little weaker, but at least I know you can hear me. And this is K6VXY number 12. I'll get the order when I come in again. In Pine Mountain Lake, running my trusty... I got brand new speakers again. I got piles here for speakers. I got two different ones. I don't know if I had those on before. I've been using them. And I've been doing not a lot of hamming in the last few weeks. So, but it's nice to hear you, Henry, and I'll turn it over to number 13. Let's see. Oh, I'm running... I will be running about 100 watts here with the SB200 and the IC27200. And I was doing some work with my antenna, lowered a little bit, and it rained a lot here, so I had raised it back up, so it's reasonably close to where it should be. And I gotta wake up. This is terrible. I won't talk that long. I'll be listening to all of you and get the order written down. This is K6VXY checking in on the 25th of in a few weeks. And over to number 13. I didn't write your call down, but I will write it down when you start transmitting as K6VXY.
Okay, I think it was turned over to me there. Signals not as strong as I thought they might be, but I did hear you say you were running 100 watts there. So this is Kevin in Gilroy, the garlic capital of the world. Good morning to everyone. I'm not sure who's all in here. Got in here late. I had to go fire up the coffee pot, so it's brewing. So I'm looking forward to that. All is well here. The weather has greatly improved. I think it got up to, I'm not sure, but I think it was pretty close to the 70s yesterday, or was it in the high 60s? Boy, it was beautiful. Diane and I, we went out for a hike in the mountains. And boy, oh boy, that really tired us out. Going up and down hills, up and down hills. We weren't out there very long, but boy, those hills were pretty steep and narrow. The pathways were really narrow. Off the one side was like anywhere, depending upon where you were, maybe 15 feet to 30 feet drop off on the edge there. On the path down below is the Uvis Creek. It was absolutely beautiful, and I didn't think we were going to make it back, but we did. So that was a good day of exercising. Really enjoyed it. We're going to do it again
glutton for punishment. But that's what we've been doing so far, is switching off between bicycle rides, mountain bikes, and walking with rest days in between. Yeah, we really proud of ourselves for almost doubling our mileage on bike riding. Of course, we don't go too far. I think we went 6 miles, and then we decided that we'll try to challenge ourselves to go 9 miles. Then we ended up doing 12.5 miles. Man, you know, that's the beauty. We got a lot of pathways here for bikes and walking and everything else. It's you just take in the scenery, and it's beautiful. So anyway, that's what I've been up to. All right, back to you. Okay, hang on. Henry, WA7 YBS. Now, I hear you direct. You got a big signal. WA6JKN.
Okay, Kevin. WA6JKN, WA7 YBS. Yeah, I'm not running a lot of power, 115 watts or so, so it's the collinear array antenna that helps. 2 half waves in phase. Should have a little bit of gain. I'm not claiming a lot, but, you know, maybe 1.5 dB or so. Anyway, theoretical. Who knows? Well, let's go ahead and get started on round 2 before anything else happens. So let's shoot it on up there to Dave, W6MQI, WA7 YBS.
All right, man. What a list. I think one of the biggest amount of chickens I think I've seen. Maybe there's been more, but yeah. Good morning to everybody that's up there. Kevin, Don, and Bill, and Jerry, and Tom. Well, I have to continue with Tom. Henry, that's how I rebuilt my R390 using your website there. Pretty much line for line. Got hung up a little bit when I started doing the PTO. Had to get in there and tweak some of the windings on one of those inductors in there to get it to come on frequency. Made a mistake. I asked a question of one of those Karen's reps groups and got verbally chastised, and so okay, the hell with that. But yeah, good site there, Henry, and looking forward to. I don't have a National 173 or anything, but looking forward to seeing that right up. And Tom, I totally forgot about the 40-meter sked. So if Andy's listening, sorry about that, brother. I said I'd be there, and I totally forgot about it. Guess I was tired from my drive from Santa Rosa. Let's see. Yep, went up to Santa Rosa, like I said, to an old ham friend of mine I grew up with, N7KRG. Pat Brown worked for, he's retired now, worked for Hewlett-Packard, and picked up a bunch of Ten-Tech stuff, an amplifier, Titan amplifier, an Omni 6 Plus transceiver, and an auto tuner. They're going to need a little work. Got a lot of missing cables and such, but everything appears to be there inside of them, so that's good. I don't know the condition of the amplifier. Looks pretty clean inside. Oh, the screws were missing on the lid, so that kind of gave me a red flag, but I opened it up, and it doesn't look like anybody got in there with the golden screwdriver and pliers and started tweaking everything. Everything appears to be okay, and the tubes, 4 CX800 A7s, if they're bad, and if you find them, I know the RF Parts has them, $1,600 or $1,800 for a set of tubes. Oh God, I hope they're good. 'Cause I don't know if I'm going to go there or not, buying new tubes for it. And thanks to Steve allowing me to come by. Steve has a rather eclectic collection of radios. There's I remember a antique place, I think it was on Highway 88, called You Name It. And Steve has anything and everything and more. You name it, he's got it. Pretty impressive, the selection or collection of radios and pinball machines and cars, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I missed out on the R390 stash, so no pictures, Mike. No pictures. Maybe that required a higher clearance level than I got. But other than that, I got some projects I'm working on here that have turned into more than I expected. But it's keeping me out of trouble anyway. So I think that's all I had on my notes here. Looking over here, I think I'm good. So over to Ron, NU6F, W6MQI.
Okay. All right. I'll try and keep it short, which for me is less than 10 minutes. Well, good copy on all to the growing group. Good morning, Kevin, and okay on hiking yesterday. Yeah, that's what I did also. Took a took a long one out to one of my favorite spots to check up on one of my one of the few places where I've got a little spot with some on a hilltop out towards the Indian reservation land, and there's a couple little stands of cactus up there, and they've been unmolested, much like Dave's Ten-Tech pickup yesterday. Unmolested radios. Well, they made the trip worthwhile. And Vern, good deal on all your rain, which eventually may pay off in getting the antenna a little bit higher as the trees grow. Good deal. Jerry, okay on having to go the manual start route for the pellet stove. I was picturing in my mind a rope starter, but I don't think that was the problem. And, well, that was a good deal on the catalytic converter. Wow, $4,000. And the picture was a Spy. I don't know, I used to have Netflix, I don't now. I'll swing by over at Larry's place, my brother's place. I know he's got Netflix. And Tom, good deal on the R390A project. Holy cow, with a loose box of gears. And ditto on Henry's reference on the R390A. It would have made my project of restoring the carport special R390A we got, that it just had all the gears seized up, and of course missing some of the tuning rack and the other stuff. But at least I could go ahead and take apart the gears that were in the right place and put them back in the right place. But if I didn't have that, wow, it would have been tough. And one for Jerry and Tom. I had a fun QSO the other day. Usually about once a year, I bump into my old Navy buddy, Jim, W6LFB. He was the chief in our unit, and he and Shirley moved down to Denton, Texas, about 15, 20 years ago, I guess 15 years ago. And anyhow, so we had a nice long QSO on 40 CW, and that was fun to touch bases. He's one of those guys who remembers everybody's names. You know, people ask me, and I can picture everybody, know everything about them, but not their names. And I don't know, he rattled off everybody, all of our old buddies in the unit, and where they were, what was going on. So that was fun. And Andy, yeah, the 5 watts sounded great up here. It was really armchair copy. So you got a good QTH, maybe even better than Curry Mountain. Brown, good deal on coming out to visit the left coast, at least for a few days. And from what I've been hearing, it sounds like weather back east also has been picking up pretty nice. Steve, sounds like from what Dave said, and your sprawling collection Sounds like you need an intervention. I could probably get started with a GoFundMe page, and we could all pitch in to send you to the Radio Rehab Asylum and see if they can get you back to a person in control. All right, well, fun stuff anyhow. Glad you have the space to store it all. Chuck, okay on the TCS, and with the remote. You know, I know you're on the remote. Are you on the remote in the shack, or you got the remote out in the kitchen next to Carla and the cast iron skillet? Could be. Rich, good deal on the mountaintop batteries. Well, yeah, that's one of those things where lithium ion just made the battery situation a lot better. Not so heavy to haul up and back down. Mike, I was going to ask you about serial number 1. Somebody asked me about Collins the other day, and I told him about your story and serial number 1. Pretty cool. All right, with that, I'll pass it on down to Mike, W7MS, and U6F.
Well, thank you, Ron, and U6F, and the Sunday morning military net W7MS, yeah, on the 310A 30K1 75A1 receiver. Well, good morning to all. My gosh, we have some new joiner-uppers here, and nice to hear Tom, Jerry, Kevin, and Vern this morning, and also Bill as tail end Charlie. And good conditions. And before we forget, good morning, Andy, and Andy's daughter. I'm not sure. Good morning to you guys. Q5, once I figured out that, yes, I was on the 75A1 and I needed to run the RF gain down to balance the BFO injection. So I did get no for the roundtable in the tail end of that once I reacclimated myself to CW operation on the A1. But great to hear you. And on the 40-meter contacts, did attempt that yesterday, but foreign broadcast on the top end of 40 meters. And FT8 on 70-50, I believe. It was just wasn't going to happen. But did hear a little bit of syllabus. I heard a syllable or two out of Andy there on the top end of 40, but it wasn't going to happen. So we did give it a shot. We didn't forget, but nice to hear him this morning on CW. He's doing a good job from the middle of nowhere. And a few comments here. Well, fine, Steve and Dave's rundown on the visit. Congratulations on that. I'm glad that came forth since the invitation was offered last Sunday, and Dave accepted, so great on that. And good reception and everybody. Great to hear Brown. Brown checked in on the Friday evening Collins net. It was great. It was an honor to have him amongst the herd since I was Master of Ceremonies. Always a pleasure to have Brown show up on that Friday evening. So again, good morning to you, Brown. And glad to hear you're not going to be rushed out of town. Let me see a few updates on the BC229, and this ties into the irony of collecting stuff that you don't really have a use for or any potential use for, and that was the some of the odds and ends for that 229, and that was the MC125A coffee grinder, which actually has the correct dial to match the dual freak plug-in. And I had this odd mount, this FT141 mount that I think I got last year in the freebie pile. Wasn't sure what it was for. Well, my gosh, it's the shock mount for the BD83 dynamotor. So it was like... you know, all this stuff comes together when you have this pile of stuff, but of course the issue could be maybe actually remembering that you have it in the pile of stuff. And good morning to Tom. I was thinking of you yesterday. I ran across my documentary on the USS Lagarto, the Bolo-class submarine that was, and this was a 2007 copyright on this documentary that I ran across on YouTube. But of course its identification and designation as a war grave, and I covered quite a bit of history for maybe folks that haven't seen it on the its manufacture in the Michigan shipyard, its transport down the Mississippi River. Focused a lot on the crew members and the surviving crew members, whether it be spouses or children or great-grandchildren, and their effort to have it officially identified by the U.S. Navy as a war grave in the China Sea. Quite interesting, and also makes you think that it's almost 20 years old, and most of the participants in that interviewees in that documentary are no longer with us, at least vertical on the planet. So it was great, and it was shot in HD, and well done. Much better production and technique than a lot of the modern documentaries that are 10 minutes of information and 40 minutes of BS. So that's my comments for the morning. So Rich, let's see how we're still doing in Fallon, and hopefully with all that heavy lifting, modern age heavy lifting, you're doing okay this morning. KE6 QK W7MS.
Let me check my milliammeter here. I want 200 mils. Well, we should be about 100 watts. W7MS and the group KE6QK. Okay. I just love hearing all your comments. I can't comment on everything, but it's really interesting to hear what you guys are doing with this old equipment. I do get very jealous. I told a story on a net earlier, I don't know, this last year or this year, when I was a control screener, second class in the Navy in 1970. I was a Navy Mars coordinator. I gave away 12 R390s to the hams there. I couldn't take one. I was living in a trailer, and I was going to get orders for Western Pacific. Couldn't keep one for myself, but I know the receiver really well. And when I hear you guys, I really get jealous. I had 12 of them. Don't have any of them. Anyway, I want to comment, Kevin. I know you live in the garlic capital of the world. I wanted to tell you, at 4,000 feet, my garlic is coming up, and apparently it can withstand the freezing at night, but they're coming up already. I hope they make it. My maple tree I planted 30 years ago here yesterday while I was working, solid bees. The bees came out, it's blooming, and it was just one big buzz. The other nature comment, I have a bird called a Say's Phobie, S-A-Y-S Phobie. Mama Phobie comes back every spring. She has a nest on our front porch, and she's a pretty nice bird. She's not too afraid of people. She raises at least, well, the first brood is 4 birds, and sometimes she does a second brood of 4 birds. So we produce Say's Phobies for the West Coast here on my front porch, HI. And electronics. The Globe Scouts here on the bench, I've got an oscillator, a VFO, that needs to be rebuilt, and it's just sitting there. The problem, I have to go through my wire stashes all over the world and find the correct shielded wire. The cables on it are so stiff, being 60 years old, and poor construction to begin with for a Heath kit. I'll get back on that when this garage warms up and rewire the optical sockets. Anyway, we'll be back in electronics here if it stays warm. And boy, signals are great this morning. Yeah, I'll be back. So Chuck, K0 DWC and the group KE6QK, pick it up.
Okay, all right, Rich. Yeah, I noticed here also God, I don't know why, but I mean, everybody's much stronger than they were 10 minutes ago. So, you know, the sun's coming up, so I don't know, something cleared out, whatever it was here, but everybody's got booming signals now, and all because, I guess, of propagation. So, because I haven't turned the knob or anything. So, anyway, let's see here. Yeah, it's going to be another nice day today. We were out yesterday doing some stuff in the back, and I think we might do a little bit more today. I think it's supposed to be, I think the high in Dayton today, I think it's supposed to be 56 or so. Henry, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I saw that. It said 56 degrees. But yesterday, I think it was like 61 here, and really, really beautiful outside. So, but anyway, yeah, everybody's got really, really good signals. And I do want to say good morning to Tom and Jerry, Bill, Vern, and Kevin. And we have a very big group this morning, and that's fantastic. I don't know if that's the record or not for check-ins for one net, but counting Henry, there's 14 of us, so that's got to be pretty close, if not over the top, for what we've had in the last 12 or 13 years we've been running this net. So my hat's off to all you guys. That's fantastic support, and it is definitely appreciated, and we want to thank you all for that. And man, what a big group of guys this morning. That's fantastic. Not much going on here right now. I'm still waiting on some parts from overseas, and no big parts. It's just microphone stuff that I'm messing with. I've got a few things here done with what I had here, but there's some stuff I couldn't find anywhere, and found it over there. So I'll continue doing that project and then go to something else when I finish that. But it's not a very big project, so it's just some stuff I want to check out and see if it works. So anyway, we'll keep it going. Got a big group here, so we'll send it over to Steve over in Santa Rosa with all those great R390s and 398s, W6 SSP, K0 DWC.
Okay, thank you, Chuck. And very good. Some QSB coming in, but conditions are still pretty good for most folks. Anyway, let's see, boy, all kinds of comments. Henry, looking forward to the article on the National 173 series. Very interesting, very unique looking receivers. I've never owned one. I've seen quite a few of them. Most recently there was one at the CHRS swap for $25, and no one bought it, and it's kind of rusty and kind of beat up, but would have been a good project for somebody, not me that time anyway. So know very little about them, so looking forward to that. And agree on your website. The R390A write-up is excellent and helped me get all of mine working here this recent batch anyway. And Tom, you know, when you get into the gearbox on that thing, I did one 2 months ago. I think Henry pointed to another article that goes into great detail about that. And there are some things that are left out of that. If you have questions, drop me an email. I can fill you in on that sort of stuff. The one tip I can give you, and the mistake I made, is make absolutely sure the band switch and the crystal switches are in the correct position. One of the gears is an intermittent gear going to those. If that's not set up right, you'll end up doing the whole thing over again. I've never done that. And other than that, I found the most difficult thing was preloading the gears and getting all of them right, getting everything synced up properly. That took quite a bit of patience, but it is doable. If I can do it, I'm sure you can do it. So anyway, good luck with that. And let's see what else. Yeah, Dave, after you left yesterday, the XYL was asking me what your impression was. And I told her that you said that she was so lucky to have so many radios here. She knew that was a lie, and she's still laughing about that. That was a good belly laugh for her. And seems like what is at work here is universal entropy, and that is the universe will do whatever it can to fill up any empty space, and that's certainly in full force here. But we're at the limit now, so I don't think there are going to be many more boat anchors coming in. It was really good to see you yesterday and talk with you about some stuff. Good luck on the Ten-Tech. That'll be a lot of fun for you. Anyway, big group today, so we'll keep it moving, and we'll send it over to Brown, W1NZR, W6SSP.
Okay, very good, Steve. Great copy from you, and yes, fighting entropy. I've been doing that most of my foolish life, especially with radios, as the world tends toward greater entropy. Let's see. Good morning to good morning to Tom. Nice to hear you. Great signal. And I failed to mention that I'm on the old GRC-19 here, the Western Electric, I believe, the last contract in 1963, and it's matching R392 here. And very happy to be on the net. Good morning to Jerry, Bill, Vern, Kevin. Kevin, you're slamming in here. And Mike, the 30K1 Serial 1, that's outstanding. Very, very nice. It sounds wonderful. I just divested myself of a 30K1. I'm not sure what its serial number was. I'll have to ask my buddy who took over caretakership of it what serial number it was. It had been modified for 811s. I never had it on the air, but I did rescue it from a dumpster, almost. It was headed in that direction. So, anyway, and I had the fortitude to know that I wasn't going to get the round to it for it. So I made space for something else back east by moving that project along. Let's see. Chuck, good morning to you. TCS sounding very nice. And if Carla is in earshot, greetings to her. Ron, great to hear the TDE. Don't hear the dynamotor spinning up, but it's great to have that on the air, and nice to hear you. And Andy, if you're still copying, the Ventana Wilderness, I'll have to look that one up. I'm sorry I didn't know that there was a skid yesterday to work him. I would have tried it. I don't think I've had the GRC-19 on 40 meters yet. And Tom, very good on the R390. I'm assuming it's a 390A gearbox. Well, they're both equally as complex, but yeah, I had acquired about a year and a half ago from one of the East Coast flea markets a very pretty EAC R390A that unfortunately I got it for a very good price, but it was one of the cleanest things I'd ever seen, and it had a tag on it from the Harry Diamond Ordnance Laboratory, which is the U.S. or was one of the U.S. government's munitions research facilities. I think it's in Virginia. Anyway, it wasn't tuning, and that's because there were 3 broken gear clamps. So I had to go into the gearbox and that. So I understand exactly what you're doing, Tom. And yes, Henry's, I didn't rely on Henry's website to do that work, but I have been in Henry's website, and you are to be commended, Henry. It's a time sponge for any of us that latch onto it, but it must have been a greater one for you to put it together. So yes, accolades are due to you for that, and all the interesting things there. Okay, it's a big group. On to, I guess I'll turn it to Andy, and if he doesn't come back, then perhaps Henry, you can direct it. I guess it goes to Tom. So KD6 TKX, if you're there, Andy, and you wish to comment, please go ahead. This is W1NZR. I'm not hearing any CW.
Yeah, I think I believe it says 73 on his last transmission, so it's 73 to Andy and over to Tom, WA60PE. Go ahead.
Oops, okay, partial double, thank you. WA60PE. Very good. Let's see here. Yeah, you know, this R390A project, it all started about 20 years ago. My first R390A, maybe it was 25 years ago, was a really nice looking EIC 67, but the detents on the megacycle dial were completely worn out. And you had to hold the megacycle dial when you turned the kilocycle dial, otherwise it cruised right along. So that's how the whole thing started. And then I got an RF deck that had a good gear train in it. And so the idea was, oh, okay, well, I'll just pull out the detent gear and change it out. Well, that turned into a monster project, and then I got sidetracked, and then on and on and on, and then 20 years has gone by. So we're kind of revisiting that a little bit. Plus I have this other Moto R390A that's been bouncing around here for about 5 years at least. And it had problems. And it turned out it was a broken pin on one of the connectors for the PTO. And by the way, I did get that connector apart. But boy, does that look like fun. I don't know where I'm going to get another one. I'm looking around to see if I can find one. But that's all part of the mix too. So I've stepped into a quagmire of R390A unfinished projects. Ouch. Let's see, I have a note here for you, Jerry. Mo Berg, yeah, my wife read that book, The Catcher Was a Spy, and clued me in on most of it. Very, very interesting. Interesting times they were, and Wild Bill Donovan, and et cetera, wow. But he thought that the guy being a catcher and a newspaper reader was a perfect cover for being a spy. And there's all kinds of stuff in there about him riding trains in those days and reading the paper, but watching and listening at the same time, and on and on and on. But yeah, the guy was a catcher, and a pretty good catcher too, from what my wife was telling me when she read the book. Never seen the movie, but I'll mention it. I'll mention that to my wife. Let's see, what else was I going to comment on? Well, Andy's daughter, he's got 2 daughters. This one is Jessica. And so he and Jessica were out there camping. Kind of a spur of the moment thing. And it's between, Ventana Wilderness goes on forever, but it's basically between King City on 101 and the coast. And it's mountainous. And during the season, in my opinion, I've never been there because Andy has described to me many, many times the rattlesnakes were so thick that they vacated. So, yeah, no thanks. So anyway, it is really a big-time wilderness and goes on forever in very, very back country. So let's see here, and he was using, I think he was using a recent acquisition of the spy set. I'm not familiar with exactly the one that he described in the email for the skid. Didn't ring a bell with me, and he's got so many of them, you got to buy a program to find out which set he's using. So anyway, but yeah, he had a good signal here. And so anyway, okay, I'm gonna say 73. This will be my 73 round. Good net this morning. Boy, there were a ton of people in here, but anyway, 73, and I'm going to turn it over to Jerry, W6KRY, WA60PE.
Okay, very good, Tom. WA60PE and the group W6JRY. Oh, yeah, I can't remember when there was 13 or 14 people here. It's been quite a while, but all kinds of things to comment on. I'm not going to do it because there is such a large group in here, too. But all the things on R390s and so on, I have none anymore. I did have several, but my last nice R390 actually ended up over in Reno to a KL7 ham over there, and that's a a long kind of sad story about what happened there. Anyway, for me it was a long sad story anyway. But yeah, I don't plan on getting any more R390s. And Henry, talking about the NC-173, I still have one of those sitting over here, and it's right next to an NC-188. And boy, you can tell the difference as the National going downhill as far as making receivers, at least the way I look at it. That 188 is really cheapened up as far as I can see. You know, a lot of the switches in the thing, they're the little slide up and down switches, and the knobs aren't as nice as some of the earlier Nationals, back to the, you know, the 173 and the 180. I have a 180 too, and so on. But you know, it's just before some of those companies quit building ham gear, they put out some pretty crummy stuff anyway, as far as well, you know, just fast and cheap, I guess. Anyway, I want to say good morning to Bill and Vern and Kevin there, and everybody, still good signals here. I don't have much more. I'll keep it going. I know it's long here, and I want to say 373 is here this morning. I'll be listening, but I'll be through here for the day. Got to go up and kind of help Sharon get going here today in a little bit. So, Bill, down to you, and see how it goes there. Yeah, checking notes, that I've got notes over notes here, but I guess that's enough out of me. Anyway, 73 Saul, everybody have a good day. It looks like it may be another nice day before things start cooling back down, and maybe a little showers later on during the week. So, N6 BCT in the group. 73 4 smash. It's W6JRY.
Yeah, W6JRY and 6 Bravo Charlie Tango. I don't have very much there. We had guys coming out and working on our system. We have a battery backup for getting the right fan and stuff like that, and we come out and put this so that we get the modem working, and also the microwave working. So very well, and we got some other things that too. We've got another thing that's delivered that unbelievably stolen. Perhaps maybe we'll put that one on Monday. So there you go. Anyway, that's all it's been done here. I spent the back of your short waypoint for them, and that was just went out to the panels, and we had to work around for his mail, which he doesn't do all the time. There we go.
Oh, okay. So it's to me. So I got all the calls written down, or most all of them, and I'm running the lower power. My heat gets acting funny, or my memory is going bad. The handle here again is burned. I'm running about 20 to 25 watts. Is that right? Let me see. Yeah. And the linear is working, but my memory is gone here after a few weeks, and I'm not sure it's tuned up right. So I'm leaving it off, and people say they can hear me without it, so I cranked up the power on my driver. I really like these Pyle speakers I've gotten. I'd recommend them. I remember from years ago that the Pyle was, I used that to replace some of the speakers. I think I had Electro Voice or Infinity or something, you know, for external speakers. But these little piles are great. I got the little 3-inch and a 3.5. The 3.5-inch is a two-way with a tweeter in it. But you guys sound great on it, so I got that plugged into the 7200 for receive. And got a bunch of stuff here. Took me a while to hook things up this morning. I last operated on 80 meters, so I talked to the AMI net, and I heard, excuse me, I heard W7MS on there, checking in. He was checking out, and I talked to Vic a little bit, and then the band conditions changed, but it was interesting. And that's what I was tuned up for, 3870. So you guys are talking about 40 meters, something going on there on Saturday. I'd be interested in that. My second antenna here that I just throw a little switch to is a 40 and 80 meter antenna. It's not quite as high as the other one, but it works just fine. If there's any AM activity, I know it's up there around 7290 plus, maybe 7295, somewhere in there. So I'm not going to hold it too long. I'm going to turn it. I've got you all written down, and I'll figure out what number is what here. And I will say hello to the ones that I copied there, which was Rich and Mike and Steve and Brad and Tom and Jerry and Bill. And of course, good morning, Henry. Oh, thank you for the QSL card. That was neat. Meant to say something that came through. I've only got 2 QSL cards up there on my little, I guess it's a cork board, you'd call it. So, but that was kind of a nice card. I appreciate that. And I will turn it over to number 13. I know he's number 13 and I'm number 12. I'll figure out what the rest of the numbers are. That would be handy if you guys, when you, for us latecomers, if you just said, okay, I'm number such and so, then I'd know who's who here and how to put them. I've got a separate piece of paper with all of your names and in order, so once I get any number, I can do a little, was that arithmetic? Figure out what number you all are. So, good morning to everyone, and here's half asleep. I don't know, I'm not ill. I'm getting old, I guess. I saw my doctor on Friday. He says, Vern, you're in great shape. Your A1C is back. You're holding at 6 and below, and you're doing everything right. And I says, well, does that mean I'll live longer than my parents? I think I already have. And he says, yeah. But he says, you never know. You could be 95, and then the next day you're gone, you know, and be real healthy. So I won't stay on that subject too long. But anyhow, I'm in good health here. And I will turn it over to number 13. This is number 12. I wrote it down. Oh, there he is, WA6JKN in Gilroy. Good signal there. It's K6PX1.
Okay, beautiful copy. This is WA6JKN, Kevin in Gilroy. Yeah, someone mentioned garlic there. Well, I'm not an expert in growing garlic, only eating it. Yeah, garlic. Well, let's see. I did look it up on the internet, and the first thing I saw was it can handle up to minus 30 degrees. Minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit. But it did say it's all about timing. You don't want to plant too early or too late. And so I stopped reading at that point, figured that was that should answer the question. I probably knew more about growing garlic since I was involved with the Gilroy Garlic Festival for 40 years. But I've forgotten most of it, that's for sure. Yeah, the Garlic Festival is what I'm talking about. We haven't had one for, I guess it's been about 3 years. We're going into the 4th year. A combination of a mass shooting and what else was there? We had the COVID deal. But since I'm a past director of the Garlic Festival Association, I'll say us past directors have been talking about bringing the Garlic Festival back, and it looks like we may just do that. There's a few things that we have to accomplish before that happens. One is seeking insurance. Once you have a mass shooting event take place at your venue, becomes almost, well, at this point in time, it's cost prohibitive to pay the premiums for insurance that's usually required by the property owner, or in this case it would be the city of Gilroy. So that's the major hurdle. All the lawsuits, as far as I understand, have been settled, and that's starting to clear the way. I don't think I will be participating in an official position. Leave that for the younger crowd. But it is a real event and has served our community very well over the years, and has raised literally tens of millions of dollars for charity. So that's our claim to fame. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to pass along my 73. Breakfast is just about ready here, and so I don't want to eat a cold breakfast. So I'm going to say the very best to you and your families. Take care. Look for you next time. And I believe I am the tail end Charlie. If not, I do apologize. Somebody mentioned Burr being a tail end Charlie, but I'm not sure if that's the case. I didn't hear that. But, you know, they say the hearing diminishes with age. And the only other thing I will say, how fun is it to be out there in the middle of nowhere with one of your kids hiking and camping and things like that. Now, this is, I would say, a very cold and maybe even a wet time of year to be down in that area. I remember we were holding, you know, pretty high and amazing high-tech warfare down there at Hunter Liggett. I think that's close to where maybe Andy is. I'm not sure. King City. But it does. It gets cold through the night and kind of damp. But once it warms up, it's not so bad. Spent, I think, a couple of weeks out there, 2, 3, yeah, I think it was 2 weeks for, I don't even remember what they called it, but it was war games using the high-tech stuff that we had at that point in time. All right, 73, and everybody have a great week. And I believe it goes back to you, Henry. WA7YBS, WA6 Juliet Kilowatt November.
Whiskey 4 Delta Victor Quebec.
Well, Carla, W4DVQ, make a transmission and turn it back to me, WA7YBS. Go ahead.
Okay, WA7YBS, this is Whiskey 4 Delta Victor Quebec. I just wanted to pop in here. I've been listening, and the list is too long for me to repeat everybody. It would take a while. But I wanted to say good morning to everybody. And it's going to be a very nice day today. Hope everybody can get out and enjoy it. And Brown, I wanted to say good morning to you, and good luck in your travels and look forward to seeing you at the swap meet. Hope you make it for that. And Tom, I heard you, and this book sounds interesting that your wife read, so we might check that out and see what it's like. But anyhow, I'm just going to do a one and done, and of course I'm on Chuck's radio, the TCS 13, so I just wanted to say good morning. So back to you, Henry, and WA7 YBS. This is Whiskey 4, Delta Victor, Quebec, saying 73s, guys.
Well, okay, Carla. W4DVQ, 73, and good to hear you. You're really modulating that TCS, and that sounds good. A little bit of tweak and peak there. Okay, now we'll do the 73 round quickly. And now number 8, Andy, KD6TKX has signed. Number 9, Tom, WA6OPE has signed. Number 10, Jerry, W6JRY has signed. Number 13, Kevin has signed, WA6JKN. And number 14, Carla, W4DVQ, was a one and done. Everybody else is still here. Let's do the 73 round, and we'll get started. W6MQI, WA7YBS.
All right, W6MQI. All right, number 5, 73, everybody. And good timing because somebody turned something on around here, and I got some nasty noise, so perfect timing. 73, everybody. Talk to everybody later, or next week. Over to Ron, NU6F, W6MQI.
Okay, guys, great net. Carla, congratulations on making position number 14. Yeah, Ham Projects, I finally finished the PRC 174 digital interface. That was 2 months. A project a lot longer than I thought it was going to take. But anyhow, it works great. And Larry and I, from the nice weather, have been wrenching on the M37. We got master cylinder in, brake fluid going everywhere, so when we get it moving, we can at least make it stop. Okay, guys, nice hearing everybody in there, and 73s, go ahead and take it, Mike, with the shock mount that you didn't even know you had, W7MS and U6F.
Well, thanks, Ron, W7MS, and we'll turn it over to Rich. So this is W7MS out. Over to Rich and Fallon.
Oh, that was quick, Mike. You caught me goofing off here. Yeah, 73 Straw, an amazing net. And good morning to Carla. I was wondering where she was. I thought she had the big skillet going. My XYL is working on that also. Kevin, a quick comment on the garlic. I harvested the garlic last year, or the year before, and I missed one of the bulbs, and it came up last year. So when I cleared the garden last year, I tilled and I put 12 cloves on the right-hand side so I wouldn't hit it with the tractor. And they're coming up. So those garlics, they grow like wild, I guess. We can't wait to, we'll have 12 plants this year. No other comments. The F1 layer is playing around with QSB, but all the signals are still Q5. Thank you very much for letting me in the net, guys. We'll see you next week. And it goes, I don't know who signed here. Let's see. Oh, Chuck, your turn, Chuck. K0DWC and the group KE6QK. Fallon, bye-bye.
Okay, Rich, KE6QK, K0DWC. All right, I won't waste any time either. But I wanted to get Carla in there. I think we may have broken the record. I'm going to go through all my sheets and I'm going to check it out and see what we've got as far as the maximum amount of check-ins. So, wow, what a great net this morning. great net all the way around, and the conditions ended up being pretty good, at least here anyway. So anyway, 7-3s, guys. I'll be your net control next weekend, and Henry, I'll give you a holler, give you a buzz here later this afternoon, and everybody have a good day and enjoy the sunshine. So with that, I will send it over to W6SSP, to Steve, and I'll say my 7-3s. Take care, guys. Thanks again for a great net. W6SSP, it's all yours. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay, Chuck, 73 K0DWC, W6SSP. Carla, good to hear you on the TCS 13 Sarpsborg Fossil up here in Santa Rosa. And just want to make a comment for any hams that might be listening or have criticized AR and saying that there's a lack of interest in it and it's a dead mode. Well, 15 check-ins, and I don't think any two stations are using the same equipment. Some of it really old, some of it fairly new, but pretty cool. Great net today, guys. Thanks for taking it. Henry, and we'll say 73. See y'all next weekend. Over to Brown, N1NZR, W6 SSP.
Okay, Steve, thank you very much. And this is W1NZR over here near Dixon. It's been a wonderful net. Henry, I have a QTC from one Brian, KN4R, who says hello and is inquiring if you have been using your AR-60. He's been into AR-60s as of late. Brian's become quite a good friend. We've done some traveling to various eastern ham festers. Really good guy. So he is saying hello this morning, and I'm saying thank you very much for orchestrating this insanity. It's been a pleasure. A good day to all, and hopefully I'll be back again before too afterwards, sometime probably towards the end of March. Looking forward to it. So with that, I will hand it to, let's see, Tom is checked out. I'm sorry, Henry, I believe Jerry is still there. So W6JRY to take it. This is W1NZR saying a very good morning and thank you.
Okay, I was just pausing there to see Jerry signed, but goes to Bill, N6BCT. Go ahead.
This is N6 Bravo, Tango. Good net, guys. John is going to be very interested in having something to work with. We'll have to go at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and the telephone. I'm like, I understand. To do with you guys. I'm still running the same old thing. One having to and I've been here Andy on his 25 watts, but he didn't take a net with the SDR, the SDR, and I didn't have a chance to check everything to correct. But anyway, it's once in a while.
This K6VXY, thanks, Bill. Say hello to MIT, W6MIT, if you talk to him today for me. Thank you. And hello to Carla. Nice to hear you. 15 total people here with the net control. And I was going to, oh yes, if Henry makes you have it when you get your chance to resume net control, I mean, speak as net control. You can tell me what's going on 40 meters on Saturday. I was kind of curious about that. And I will turn it over to Kevin and Gilroy has signed. That's right. So then I will turn it, and Carla was a one and done. And 73 is all he is. Nice hearing you again. And This K6BXY still waking up. This is terrible. Back to you, Henry. WA7YBS and LaGroup K6BXY.
Okay, there, Kevin. No problem. And let's see, a couple of notes there. On that 40 meters, I believe that was a schedule that was with Andy. And so it was kind of like just for a one-day event. There wasn't anything that was going to be, you know, in other words, it's done. It's already happened. And so that's the gist that I got of that. And Brown, yeah, KN4R, Brian, I haven't done anything on the AR-60 lately, but it is easily accessible and could be quickly put into place and used. So, yeah, great receiver. And I'll have to send Brian an email, so thanks for the relay on the high from Brian. With that, this is WA7YBS, and I'll be closing the Vintage Military Radio Net. Thanks, everybody, for your participation. It's appreciated. Next week, Chuck will be net control and K0DWC, so everybody, we hope that we will hear you on the air then. 73 all around, WA7YBS and the Vintage Military Radio Net will be signed.